Layering different skincare actives can be very confusing. There's a lot of cosmetic chemistry that goes into things, and for some people it's quite overwhelming. But you are a skintellectual, and I used to be the person that would literally be using Neutrogena makeup wipes and Say Knives apricot scrubs and wondering why my acne was freaking out all over my face. So if I could get from there to here, where I've actually worked with doctors and dermatologists and help other people with their skin, I am confident that you will not only be able to understand these concepts, but actually apply them to your skin and see the benefits. So first off, what is layering? Layering is this idea of layering your actives, whether it's different serums or different textures. Basically using different products that complement and combine together to do great things for your skin. But yes, lots can go wrong. Because if you're trying to layer things that don't work together, they could both be useless, or even worse, they could cause major irritation to the skin. Sometimes formulas also ball up on each other, and I'll actually share a layering disaster that happened to me just a few weeks ago. If you read articles online, it's like, layer these ingredients, but don't layer these. And it's like, okay, I basically have to consult a medical textbook, or for most people, Google to figure out whether or not I can layer my ingredients, and then I'm relying on some reporter or some influencer to tell me these things. What are you supposed to do? I created a mnemonic that I like to use called the 3 C's. Contradictions, complementary, character. And basically, as you're looking at your actives, you want to see, are there any contradictions? Are they complementary? What are their characteristics? So first off, let's start with contradictions. When you have two things that you want to layer together or use in the same routine, are they going to contradict each other? If one is extremely basic or alkaline and one is extremely acidic, we know that acids and bases neutralize each other. So you're not going to want to use both of those in the same routine unless they're already stabilized in a pre-existing product. One example of things you don't want to mix are benzoyl peroxide and vitamin C. You know benzoyl peroxide as an amazing acne ingredient, and vitamin C is a great brightener and really something to give an antioxidant boost to the skin. But vitamin C is an antioxidant. Benzoyl peroxide is an oxidizer. So if you use them in the same routine, they actually cancel each other out and they attack each other instead of doing good work on your face. If you wanted to use both of these actives in the same routine, I would say use them at separate times a day. For me, I would choose the benzoyl peroxide as a wash in the evening, and I would choose the vitamin C in the morning. Another contradiction you might want to look for are things that get more intense or more irritating when combined. For example, we know that retinoids are amazing, but they can have this period of retinization. The skin has to get used to them first, and especially if you're on a prescription, that can be quite the journey. And similarly, things such as chemical exfoliants like alpha hydroxy acids or beta hydroxy acids, they can exfoliate and therefore somewhat irritate the skin. Exfoliating the skin can also cause other ingredients to penetrate deeper. And if you have a very basic routine and you just throw, exfoliating acids and retinoids into your routine all at once, those can be very, very irritating. Retinoids also work at, a pH of around 5.5, which is what the skin kind of likes to hang out at, which is slightly acidic. But some really potent acids tend to work at a lower pH, sometimes 3.2, sometimes 3.4, and some as low as even a pH of 3. And, these two things aren't necessarily going to cancel each other out, but if you use them together, they're not working in optimal environments. Especially if you have sensitive skin, this is going to not be the funnest time. One contradiction that a lot of people like to cite are niacinamide and vitamin C. The concern is that there was one study that showed high levels of vitamin C under specific atmospheric and temperature conditions turned niacinamide into niacin and irritated the skin. But studies on skin and the experts who have looked into this, such as dermatologists and chemists, have found that this doesn't actually happen in the real world, especially with skincare products. Now, if you've got the Ordinary's 100% niacinamide powder and you go mixing in some pure L-ascorbic acid and put that on your face, yeah, maybe that could cause some issues. But if you're just layering actives, I don't think it's a huge problem, especially if both of them are under 10%. And niacinamide is actually a very, very stable ingredient. Vitamin C, specifically L-ascorbic acid, can be a little bit more finicky, but niacinamide is super stable, so it is a really great ingredient to layer with because most other things work pretty well with it. So once we've got our contradictions out of the way, we gotta look at whether or not our ingredients are complementary. Are we using these for a purpose? What's the purpose of layering things on your skin if they don't do anything? So for example, if you layer a vitamin C and a vitamin E, that could be a really great blend. These antioxidants can kind of refresh each other and actually boost up a sunscreen. So right there are 3 things that would be amazing to layer. If you were going to mix a vitamin C with just a random water gel serum, why? If you're not looking for the vitamin C benefits on its own, why would you combine these things if they don't do anything, right? Kind of goes back to neutralizing things as well. Let's say that you have a cleanser that's more soapy, it's more basic. neck. And then let's say that you have a liquid enzymatic exfoliant that you like to use in the shower on some days, and you decide, oh, I'm gonna mix my cleanser with this exfoliant and make like an exfoliating cleanser. Well, they're not really helping each other. They're canceling each other out. There's no purpose. If you wanted a nice exfoliation, just use the cleanser. So you want to make sure that these things are actually doing your skin good. Again, mixing antioxidants together can be amazing and give them a super boost, and mixing antioxidants with sunscreen is a great idea. Layering exfoliated acids and humectants are another great idea. For example, if you used a beta hydroxy acid or an alpha hydroxy acid first to exfoliate, those dead layers of top skin cells, and then you wanted to go in with something that actually penetrates deeply into the skin, such as specific weights of hyaluronic acid, or maybe you did even want to go in with a peptide blend, as long as your skin is at the right pH to accept that optimally. That would be a really good way to get some of these ingredients deeper into the skin. And specifically, let's say that you had a peptide serum or a peptide cream and you wanted to actually lock it into the skin. Using a hydrating peptide blend and sealing that in with an occlusive moisturizer, especially if that occlusive moisturizer has some green tea extract, that is going to be an awesome idea. Another really great blend are some of these ingredients that work on hyperpigmentation. Consider using a tyrosinase inhibitor such as alpha-arbutin and combining that with licorice. If you layered 2 of those serums, or one in a toner, one in a serum, or a serum and a moisturizer, those could be really awesome. And especially if you're trying to treat a specific condition such as hyperpigmentation or such as acne, using different actives that have been medically proven to treat that condition in combination, as long as it doesn't irritate your skin, can be a great way to go. So for example, we know that salicylic acid is amazing for acne, and we know that sulfur is also really good. So what if you were to find some sort of a salicylic acid wash or even toner and serum, and then use some sort of a moisturizer or a spot treatment that has sulfur? As long as it's not stripping your skin, these could actually work really well and in your favor. Same with the hyperpigmentation example. Let's say that you wanted to use like a low level of lactic acid or a polyhydroxy acid, that would be, even better and more gentle, and you wanted to use that before an alpha-arbutin or before a vitamin C. That would allow that vitamin C to penetrate in deeper and do more work. And remember, vitamin C likes an acidic environment, and what are alpha-hydroxy acids or polyhydroxy acids? They're acids. So those would be really awesome to layer, and as long as you're not causing irritation, you're getting more benefit. And then the piece of character is what most people forget. Most people don't even think about this, but you have to look at the character of the product. You have to look at how it's formulated. If you have a serum, you apply it to the skin, and then you put on a moisturizer and it starts to ball up and get all pilly, that's not really doing you any favors because those textures don't mesh. When you're layering, you want something to either penetrate and something else to seal it in, or you want them to be homogeneous, so the same, and you want those serums to be able to kind of mix into and soak into the skin. A really good idea would be something water-based first, like a hydrator, a humectant, or even an exfoliant, and then sealing that over the top with a nice moisturizer that doesn't ball up. That would be great. But if you're to do like, a chalky niacinamide serum, and then you apply one of these, moisturizing creams that has a little bit of clay in it, that could get super gunky super quick and just not feel elegant on the skin. And then if you were to just combine like 2 toners, you just have like a liquid mess. If anything, you would want to apply one of those toners first, wait a little while so that it's actually penetrated, and then apply that second one. Or for me, I really like toners and then serums, because at least I know one is going to penetrate first and then the other can go on top because it's a different viscosity. And also with cleansers, like if you're trying to thin out a cleanser, then maybe you would want to mix them. But normally mixing cleansers doesn't do any good. When you have a cleanser, it's normally formulated in a specific way to do a specific thing. And you want to give it the liberty and the ability to do that the way the manufacturer and the formulation process, hoped that it would be. And if you mix like 2 different cleansers, are those surfactants going to attach to each other instead of the dirt and oil on your face? Is it actually going to clean as well? Is it going to negate, some of the antioxidants or something beneficial in one of those products? It's really hard to tell unless you're a cosmetic chemist. So I would say make sure that you are using products that actually layer nicely together, and test them out on your hand before you shove them on your face. Don't waste a full face full of product when you could do a couple dots on your hand and see if they end up pilling up or balling up, or, God forbid, having some really weird bubbly reaction. Fun fact, let me tell you a story about when I was 12, and we're talking about a weird bubbly reaction. My best friend at the time and I were painting our nails, and we were trying to make like a custom nail polish. And my mother was very adamant about not having styrofoam cups in the home because they were not supposed to be eco-friendly or good for us. So whenever my younger brother or I would bring styrofoam cups home from the school cafeteria, like with water, she would always reuse them, right? She would plant something in them, or she would store buttons in them or whatever. And this one day, my best friend and I, we were trying to paint our nails. We wanted to mix a custom nail polish. And so we started pouring in purple, we started pouring in red and a little bit of pink, and like it was so cool to see because you saw the colors like blending in together. And we were sitting there like giggling, like looking at the colors that we're all doing that. And all of a sudden I pick this styrofoam cup up and the bottom just comes off. And the nail polish was like eating through the styrofoam cup and it was starting to bubble and fizz. And to this day, I still don't know what that was. I'm trying to think if I had mixed like acetone or nail polish remover in there too. But my mom starts screaming. She's like, no, 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 honey. You know, the floor is ruined, right? Like put that down, but also, oh my God, you don't want that on your skin. So she immediately went, had me rinse off and all this stuff. But I was probably 11 years old. That was like one of my youngest memories of like scary chemistry. And that's just an example of not mixing things that maybe shouldn't be mixed. And thank God I don't have burns or anything, but like it was bubbling. That was an exothermic reaction and I don't know what caused it. If anybody knows the chemistry of that, let me know. Let's analyze what happened. But even recently, I had a bad experience when layering products. Remember how everyone forgets that character step? I forgot the character step. And I was trying to mix, actually it was the Ordinary's niacinamide. It was a vitamin C ester, that really expensive one that's the dupe for SkinCeuticals from Obagi. And then I was putting my sunscreen over the top. And I was using the Elta MD, which also has niacinamide in it, and it has a little tendency to ball up. It's not horrible, but like a slight tendency. Next thing you know, it feels like I had just applied one of those gimmicky exfoliating gel peels. It was like my skin was just flaking off, and it wasn't skin cells, it was the product balling up on itself. And I was sitting there, I was like rubbing my face in my car like while I'm driving, and I'm just like, oh my God, I was not meaning to exfoliate today. I was trying to literally protect my face from the sun with this vitamin C and like some niacinamide because I was having a couple of irritation breakouts over here. And the niacinamide, it just balled up. It just was gross. The vitamin C in its encapsulated version just couldn't penetrate through that into my skin to get where it needs to go. And then the sunscreen on top of that just made it all goopy. And then I ended up just like rubbing all of it off. And it was gross and it felt like my skin was peeling all day. You know, I felt like a snake shedding its skin, but the skin was moist. And then I was like picking it off of my face. And it is something that I don't want to relive. But it goes to show that cosmetic formulation is so complex, and even layering skincare products can be such an ordeal that it's impossible to know how everything will react. It's impossible to always get it right. And yeah, sometimes it goes wrong. And in the case of the random ass nail polish, sometimes it goes very, very wrong. But at least you have this guide and the 3 C's so that you can do your best and you can curate a skincare routine that actually works for you, but that also gets you excited about actives and how to use them and what to do to take care of your skin in the best way that you can while also enjoying the process. So do remember to stay hydrated and maybe apply a moisturizer on top. Wear your SPF as long as you don't apply it over copious amounts of niacinamide and vitamin C so that it balls up, and do hit the like button to the point that it turns blue in the face, and subscribe so that I can see you in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.